If you feel like you were getting better results last year with your plumbing SEO, but you're not getting the same or worse this year, this video is for you. I'm gonna help you diagnose and audit where things are falling apart because it might be time to make a change. So of the 5 things we're gonna go through, we're gonna rule out some of the easy ones. By the time you get to the end, you might discover, in fact, that it needs a totally different strategy instead. I'm gonna share with you some stuff that you've probably not seen in any other YouTube video you come across recently doing your research. So let's get into it. First things first, if you don't have the data for year-over-year stuff for your company, you're just guessing, right? And the rest of this video won't matter as much if you're going off of just feelings. And so if you don't have data, if you've been working with an agency or a freelancer for a couple of years and you don't have that year-over-year data, you don't have all the website stuff, you don't have any of your call analytics, you need to change things so that you can hold people accountable to the results that they're promising you. So that's the first thing. We have to start with data, not with your feelings. And with plumbing, you are less volatile than HVAC, right? HVAC is like totally driven by the weather. So when it gets really hot, systems break, going out and fixing them, right? Now, plumbing does have its ups, right? When water heaters are having to work twice as hard in the winter to keep the water warm, of course they're going to go out more frequently than other times of the year. But with plumbing, thankfully, it is less volatile. And so when you start looking at the data and you compare this month versus the same month last year, you're going to get some good data. Okay. But even better than that, I would look at this quarter versus last year's same quarter, because due to seasonality, due to weather, due to market conditions, things can shift a little bit. You know, March of this year might be very different than March of last year. So if you expand out and you look at Q2 versus Q2 last year, you're going to get better data because it's evened out for that 90-day period. And you'll start to see whether things were up or whether they were down for a quarterly basis. Because you could have a really up month and it can look really sexy on a report looking at this month versus that month last year. It's only until you zoom out to the quarter you see what is actually going on and what is happening, right? So try doing that. Look at the quarter versus quarter, and I would look at it from both the marketing side and your sales side, because your marketing team could be crushing it. But what if your sales team has slipped from a 35% close rate down to 26 over the course of the year, right? That could be the biggest reason why it seems like things have slowed down. So you have to eliminate and figure out, do I have a sales problem or is it truly the marketing team and the SEO that's suffering, right? The next thing we want to look at is the market conditions. Call it the economy, if you will. Right now, interest rates are higher than ever, so people are less likely to do a new replacement if they can't find the financing for it. They're going to try to eke through this season with just a service update for their system instead of a full replacement. And so we're seeing people holding their money longer. And just because they're holding their money longer doesn't mean that your SEO strategy is falling apart. It just means that you have to change operationally how you're positioning your products, how you are pricing what you do, and how you're adding on to your existing ticket to try to get a little bit more money out of every service visit. All right. So you need to rule out the market conditions. So even if you are low on new installs this year, you should still be getting the same or more service calls to know that your marketing is working. So we ruled some of those things out. We have to look at next the actual channel and the channel's performance. So this is a really important one because different channels work differently. And so if you're working with an agency that's managing your local service ads, your Google ads, your Google business profile, and your website, those are 4 different channels that are all related to search. And so what we've seen before is we'll come in and we'll do an audit and the numbers look good year over year. But what we realize is they're just spending more money on local service ads this year versus last year. And it's all combined together in the same pot. That's a tracking problem, right? But you need to be able to look at it by channel. And so one of the things we've also noticed this year versus last year is the number of spam calls is just insane. And they're typically coming through the Google business profile. And so numbers might look like they're up. You might think, wow, we're up like 40% this year. And that's what's getting reported by the agency. But what they're not looking at is the number of calls that you're getting there saying, your Google business profile is not verified. Dial 9, blah, blah, blah. Those are spam calls. And so what I would recommend is doing an audit of the last month, and ruling out every single spam call to get the clear picture on what the actual real number of calls is. And that's where you'll find out, like, have we stalled out? Are we actually moving in the right direction? But you can also only know that if the agency is reporting based off of the individual channels that you're advertising in. I promised you here at the end that if we'd ruled out all these other things, I could tell you definitively what might be going on, and it could be a strategy problem, okay? So Google has pushed out a couple big updates in the last year or 2 years that are affecting plumbing companies nationwide. One of those is the proximity update with regards to Google business profiles. So if your business is located over here on this side of the city, and you have traditionally gotten a lot of business from customers on this side of the city, and suddenly you're not, it's because of the proximity update, right? You are now further away from the customer than you were before. Like, you're further away, and the businesses that are closer to the customer are now getting the priority. Even if they're not as established, even if they have nowhere near the same number of reviews, Google is just giving them your market share that you used to have easily for free. So proximity has affected year over year many of the companies that we represent, and it takes a new strategy to reach those people. Okay, so you can't help proximity, except I do have one tactic for you. I'll share that in just a moment. But you do have control over the number of reviews that you're getting. So if you don't have review automation in place and you're not coaching your technicians to actually ask for the reviews, if your CSRs are not calling after service has been done to check on the status of the install or the repair, and then asking for a review, if those things aren't dialed in, your competitors are getting more reviews than you. And it's not just the total number of reviews that matter. It's the number of reviews that you're getting over a period of time. So your review velocity is more important now, how active you are, than the total number of reviews. In fact, there's been a lot of research done that shows that people are looking at the most recent 3 months of business and making judgments based off of those reviews more than the total number over time. So don't sleep on this. Reviews are a huge part of your marketing strategy to take really seriously moving forward. One thing that you can do to beat the Google proximity update is if you are a more established company, meaning you're getting hundreds of new reviews a year, not just like 100, you can consider getting a second Google business profile in a nearby suburb or a nearby city in order to reach customers that are in that area. I got a video that I'll put in the description below here. It's a case study for a local business that we worked with, an HVAC company, that we helped them get an additional 1,000 calls year over year. It's about a 25% increase. And 60% of that new volume came from a new Google profile that we helped them set up 2 years ago and started getting reviews. That profile is now crushing it in this area. It's bringing in over 60% of the new business. Why? It's because we are playing against Google's proximity updates. So we found them a location in an area where the competitors aren't, or it's being currently underserved by their competition. That's how we're seeing the growth. So it takes a strategic update to keep up with the changes of Google, to keep up with what's changing with AI search and people using things like Chat or Gemini now to find local businesses. We're on top of that, and we're changing the strategies to make sure that our clients in the HVAC and plumbing industries continue to get this really great search traffic, people that want their services now, to grow their market share and keep dominating their markets. So if you need a new strategy, you went through this whole entire sheet of examples and you're like, it's gotta be the strategy. Book a call with me or somebody from my team from the description below this video. Be happy to look at what's currently happening right now and put you back on a path to definitive growth with accountability that you know is actually working, and being able to review the numbers, not the feelings, to make sure you're on track moving forward. So look forward to catching you on a call here soon, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for watching my video. If you like this one, you'll love some of the other videos we have posted here on our channel that help blue-collar business owners get more out of their digital marketing. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos. If you got questions or comments, post them below. I look forward to catching you on the next video. Bye for now.